How do I manage my wins and my losses? Now, that is a very good question, so I thought I would answer it in today's video. Now, we're doing this on the back of a beautiful sell on gold. As you can see, blue alert, we went for a 1 to 3 on this. Let me just show you my trading results so far since doing these blue alerts on gold, right? And I think this would be a great kind of an example to talk about how I manage my profits psychology wise. So let me just show you here, because honestly, I just showed my members this because we all took the same trade on gold. So as you can see here, hold on here, is it loading? Oh, sorry, have to connect to my Wi-Fi for my computer to pick it up. So let's do that again. Okay, you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Come on, magic. Okay, right. So as you can see, account balance there. If I go to history and I look at today, as you can see, 4 grand, all sales are just showing you that sell on gold. But if I look at when I first started this, which was the 10th. So I've done this for around just over 2 weeks now. So from the 10th to the 25th, which is today. And I have made 76 grand and the account balance is 114. That is just how much money I've made. And look at it. Most of it's just gold. Just gold. There's a few, obviously, Mogwai Versal setups, a few London Opens, some Bitcoin at the weekend, some GU sales. But most of it is going to be gold. That's the big hitter on got this account up. But yeah, let's talk about it, right? How do I manage my wins and losses? Now, I'm doing this on the back of a webinar I had with a trader last night. It wasn't a member. And he booked a webinar with me and he said, Jamie, I need your help. I don't set a stop loss, or I set a stop loss and I turn it off, or I move it, or I just leave it and hope the trade wins, or I martingale. I just need help. Just help me, Jamie. I just can't handle losses. This is my best bit of advice for this. So first of all, you should never go into a trade with emotion, right? You should never be emotionally attached to a trade. And I think a very big problem with this is overcomplicating strategies. So things like ICT, smart money concepts. The problem with strategies like that is they don't necessarily teach you price action patterns like what we're doing here, you know, trend trading, second pullback sort of thing. They teach you more about how the market moves, which is quite bad from a psychology point of view, because when you go into a trade, imagine you've took a trade now, smart money concepts, and you're going into this trade with the belief that, okay, this is why the market should move. The market should move now in my favor. This trade should win. And when it doesn't win, you're kind of like emotionally attached to that trade. You're like, well, why is it not winning? This should win. This is how the market should move. And it doesn't do that. Because trading, when you go into a trade, it is effectively decision making, right? So if you take a winning trade, you made a good decision. It was a good buy. If the trade loses, you made a bad decision. Now, it could lose because of many different reasons. Your stop loss, bad entry point, always just a normal loss, right? If you go into a trade emotionally attached to it, it's going to create a domino effect, a negative effect. So treat trading as in decision making. So if you win 5 trades with the Mogwai Versal strategy, they all win for a 1 to 3. You are good at trading the Mogwai Versal strategy. It's not the strategy, it's not me. You are just good at trading, and you should use that to motivate you to push you forward. And it's the same if you lose 5 trades in a row. It's not the strategy, it's not me, it's not someone else. It's just you're bad at trading. Fact. And you can either use that to motivate you to learn and improve. So look at trading as in decision making. So everything you do on the charts, as in manage the trade, put your stop loss there, going for a 1 to 3, is solely your decision. And I think once you accept that, you will learn to embrace the outcome of those decisions. So if you're not using a stop loss, for example, that's your decision. Now, if you don't want to use a stop loss, that's fine. That's what you do. You are Jamie that doesn't use a stop loss. That's fine. If you're going to do that, accept the consequences of what's going to happen. My way of viewing that is if a ship is sailing and it starts sinking, there's no point trying to patch the holes. Just get off the ship and swim for freedom. Don't try and manage a bad decision. If the boat is sinking, get off the ship. If the trade is losing, get out of the trade. Don't try and, manage it. Don't try and move your stop loss. Don't try and take a second trade. Don't do any of that. Just get out of that trade. If you take a trade and you've made the decision, you want to buy the market, the strategy is telling you to buy the market, you buy the market and the price goes against you, that means that the price is not doing what you decided it was going to do. So therefore, get out of the trade. You can't manage a losing trade if your decision was the complete opposite. So rather than trying to sit there and shovel water out of a sinking ship, just get out of it. You are that person that would rather close a trade off early, get out, move on, next trade. And once you look at trading like that, you learn to treat every trade individually. So I'll give you an example, when I have 3 losses in a row or I have 3 wins, because I do get it when some people are like, Jamie, how do you do that? Like, how do you have 3 losses and then go into the 4th trade? Like, what's your mental process? Like, do you end it for the day? Do you come back tomorrow? Do you kind of like, I want to get a win back? What's your thought process? Every time I take a trade, I'm accepting the outcome of that regardless, right? Whether I go into that trade with a huge lot size, whether I try and go for a 1 to 3, 1 to 1, 1 to 5, every decision I do is mine and I accept the consequences of that. So if I have 3 losses in the row, I look at that and said, okay, these 3 losses, they're individual, right? Trade number 1 was a loss. Did I do anything wrong? Or what did I do wrong that I could improve on it? Okay, trade number 2. What did I do wrong here? Was everything right? Did I put my stop loss in the right place? Was my take profit in the right place? If it was, there's nothing I can do. So I always look at trading as in, if it's a loss, it's your fault. Could you have done something different? And if the answer is yes, you know where to improve on, right? You know what to do right. I use an example of, imagine I had a strategy with 100 trades, right? Every single day it gave you 100 trades and 99 of those trades were all losses and there was 1 win. And every single day I just took that 1 winner every single day. If I asked you right now, what is the win ratio of that strategy? You're going to say, well, it's a 99% losing strategy. It's like a 1% win ratio. And I would say, yeah, that might be true, but my results don't reflect that. My results are 100% because every day I take that 1 winning trade every day. Your next thought process is, well, how do you take that winning trade, right? That's what I want to know. How did you avoid those losses and then just take that winning trade? Again, keep your strategy simple, right? The way to the point on which you execute a trade has to be done consistency, right? You have to go into each trade individually and accepting the outcome, and every trade you take, it has to be consistency. So look at London Open, for example, right? We take the first blue alert after London Open on Euro USD for a 1 to 2. Now everyone will tell you that is not part of the buy and destroyer that shouldn't work. You can't just take signals blindly like gold here and make money. But it works because every single day we take the same trade at the same time on the same currency pair or with the same stop loss and take profit every single day. With these blue alerts on gold, I'm just taking every blue alert for 1 to 3. That is consistency. And if the trade is a loss, I review it. Why did it lose? Could I have done something different? Was my stop loss in a wrong place? To give an example with this trade here, you see how it kind of like went kind of sideways and then a big drop. I went into this trade. I'll actually show you on this one here. If we go to the mentorship group here, the free group here, you see how I took this trade. So this was the trade, right? I went into this trade with 3 trades. So on each trade was a 3R profit. So I was like, you know what? If all 3 of these trades come in, I've made 9%. Just in one trade. I'm like, hallelujah, I'm counting the money. What ended up happening was I got out early. I wouldn't say I panicked. price went down to about 5 grand. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to not like this if price reverses and stops me out, because I had the opportunity to take 5 grand out of this trade. So that's what I did. That's why if you look at some of my trades, I had 3 trades and I closed 2 of them off at £900, which is a 2R, and I closed the third trade off at a 3R. Okay, so you're looking at that and go, Jamie, you just made 5 grand off one trade. You should be proud of it. But I'm not proud of it, because the decision I made went against my initial decision when I entered this trade. So I entered this trade, I'm going to do this. And then once I'm in the trade, I made a different decision. And again, I accept that. Now, looking back, do I regret doing that? Do I regret closing trades off at 2R? Not particularly, right? Because when you look at trading, you can always look at stuff in hindsight. If this trade lost, so it went to a 2R and then reversed, I'd be like, good, I got out early. And your question to me is, Jamie, how did you know that? How did you know the trade was going to go to a 2R and reverse? How come you got out early? And then some people, will look at this and say, Jamie, you hit 3R. That's amazing, right? Again, you're looking at stuff in hindsight. You need to look at it as a decision basis. So everything's your responsibility, right? Trading is trading, right? The market is the market, period. It doesn't care whether you're in a trade, you're not in a trade, whether it stops you out, whether you're riding the trade and making so much money. It doesn't care. It doesn't know. It's not alive. Okay? Remember this. I got taught this from when I first started ever learning to trade, I learned this from Warren Buffett. And that is, you're only judged on the trades you take, not the trades you don't take. So every trade you take, every decision you make, they're the trades you're judged on. So if you're not consistent at trading, then the decisions you are making are not consistent and they're wrong. So to be consistent, you need to make the right decisions majority of the time, because yes, we are going to make mistakes. Who doesn't? We are sometimes going to get greedy, push trades. This trade, I could have perhaps pushed it a bit more and got a 3R, but it is what it is. But you're only judged on the actions you take, right? You can avoid 99 losses in a row and take that one winning trade every single day, and they're the trades you're judged on. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And just to wrap up this one is, how do I embrace my winners? Because obviously, recently you've been seeing me smashing on gold, and you always sit there and say, how do you deal with the wins? Okay. So this is a very touchy subject for me, because I haven't quite worked out how to deal with the profits and money I make. The one thing I can give you from experience is trading has no value, right? So it's not as if it's a career. It's not as if you're, working up to be promoted, right? The only person that really cares about your trading is yourself. Nobody else cares. Nobody gets it. If you pass a prop firm challenge, nobody else is really going to care or even understand what that means, right? So there is no value outside of trading. The only value is the one in your head, right? The fact that I just got 3R on this trade, nobody else understands that apart from me and maybe a few of us who watch this video. But for me, it has value, right? I like that. But outside of that, there is no value. Like, nobody else just understands it. It's just a pile of numbers on a computer screen. And the only real value you get from trading is when you actually withdraw the money and spend it and treat your family, treat your friends, enjoy life, right? There's the only value in that. And the problem when you go down that route is it never ends, right? You're always chasing for more, the next Lamborghini, the bigger house, the more expensive holidays. And it becomes a very dark, vicious cycle. And I don't really want to go into too much detail because I suffer with my own battles with that. Sometimes I make a ridiculous amounts of money in trading and I don't feel any emotion towards it, right? My girlfriend my wife often says to me that you live in a fantasy world that nobody else understands. The sort of money you make, Jamie, and you're going around saying that, I've had a bad day at trading. And I'm like, how can you have a bad day at trading, Jamie? You've just made 50 grand and you're like miserable. And the reason for that is because, like I said, I look at trading as in decision making, right? I made good decisions, I made bad decisions this day. Yesterday, if I just show you yesterday's trades, Okay, these were yesterday's trades. So if I just bring up the replay button here, okay, these were the two trades that happened yesterday. As you can see, two very beautiful trades. They both went for a 3R. I made 6R on these two trades. I didn't take partials. I just left them and I'm like, boom, amazing day yesterday. In fact, I made more money today than I did yesterday, but today I was far more happier because I made the right decisions. Everything worked out perfectly as I should. I was happy. If you look at today's trade, which was only one, I've made more money today, but my problem with this trade here, if I go to here, my problem with this trade here was, first of all, I went into this trade with 3 big trades with the idea that, yeah, I'm going to make so much money on this trade. Oh my God, I'm going to be super rich. So I'm already going into this trade, I wouldn't say emotionally, but I'm already going in with a belief that, you know, I'm going to get this amount of money on the trade. This is why you shouldn't look at trading like, oh, this is why the market's moving. Because it's a belief, and if it doesn't work, like it does the opposite, now you're like, well, what is moving the market? Don't look at it like that. Keep it simple, and that is it. So I went into this trade already kind of on the back foot, like I want 3R out of this trade. And then what happened was actually here, you see here where it started kind of reversing here, this is where I took 2R out of this trade. So I was like, you know what, I'm getting at 2R, I'll leave the one trade open, I'll move my stop loss to break even, and then I'll ride it down for 3R, and boom, I hit my 3R. But looking back, it wasn't perfect, unlike the other trades. So can you see how even though I made more money today, I feel like I could improve as a trader? So a top tip, okay? If you're not going to use a stop loss, accept that. That's fine. Nobody cares if you don't use a stop loss except yourself. So if you don't want to use a stop loss, that's fine. If you want to, you know, trade some complicated strategy, that's fine. That's what I say to people, right? Accept it, embrace it. That is you. You don't use a stop loss. That's fine. Okay? Just deal with the consequences. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you learned something from it. I kind of opened up a bit about my trading and my psychology when taking trades. That's my trading done for the day. I'm going to head out to the airport now because I'm flying to Prague for a week with my friend. You know, in fact, actually, when you watch this, I will be already in Prague. So hope you enjoyed that video. My name is Shane Palmer, and thank you for watching.